And once again, we're hearing the story of David and Goliath in 1 Samuel chapter 17. We've got where Goliath has came out and challenged the armies of Israel. David showed up and all of Israel ran from Goliath. Goliath was 9 to 12 feet tall. David said, I'll take him on. King Saul, the king of Israel, called David in and said, man, David, you're just a scrawny little kid. He is probably only 15, 16 years old. So listen, if you're young out there and you think you can't do anything for God, a 15, 16-year-old young boy killed a giant and won a great victory for an entire nation. So you can do something for God. David said, I'll go fight him. Saul said, man, you can't face this guy. And David said, I've killed a lion and a bear. I can take on this guy. Then it goes on. He chose his weapons, and we talked about that in a different time, but he chose his weapons. He knew what his weapons were that he could fight with, and he went out and he faced his enemy. And here in 1 Samuel chapter 17, almost verses 40 down to verse 47, there's an exchange that takes place, and actually Goliath is saying, what am I, a dog, that you send me out here, little boys and sticks, and began to belittle David and began to belittle who he was. And you know, I realize today that as a man, there's a lot of things belittling men today. There are even articles that are being written that what are men good for? Do we even need men today? And a lot of our culture is saying men are not that important. I think even someplace they said that being a chivalrous or opening doors for women and things like that is almost sexist. And so there's a lot of things belittling men. And you know what? I like what it says concerning David, that when in verse 48 it says, when the Philistine got up and began to advance towards David, it said, hurried towards the Philistine and towards the armies. There was an aggression on the inside of him. All the rest of Israel fled from this giant. David went after it. I'm going to tell you something, men, in the time and the day and the hour that we live, where manhood is being belittled, you being a man of God being belittled, we need to stand up and we need to stand strong, and we need to advance towards our enemies and begin to fight for true biblical manhood. Be chivalrous men, be men of honor, be men that keep our word, and challenge the enemies that are coming against men today, and stand up strong and face the challenges of life. Get up and face your enemy today and hurry towards it, and maybe you'll see him run and you left standing on the field of battle.